and welcome to my channel. A warm welcomes to you all. Today's video is for Android users, for those of you that are looking to do digital planning. If you haven't already got a cross-stitch digital planner, maybe you're thinking about that, or just a digital planner in general, this is the video for you. So in today's video, I'll be showing you how I use my cross-stitch digital planner on an Android device. I will be showing you how to use the Xodo PDF annotation application. That's the one that I chose and use. We're going to break the video down into step-by-step, bite-sized chunks. So in the descriptions box below, I will put timestamps in. So for each section, if you're then revisiting this video, you don't need to watch it all the way through. You can just pick the bit that you're looking to revisit. So in the video, we are going to start at the very beginning, and it's going to include how to download the files onto your device. We're going to look at how to install Xodo onto your Android device. Then we will be looking at how to import your planner and all your digital stickers. We'll do an overview of the tools and the functionalities within the Xodo app, which will help you with your digital planning. And then we will look at how to use the tools for the digital planner, and finally how to duplicate and move your pages. So if that sounds like something you would be interested in looking at, then please stay tuned. I'm going to flip the camera around and let's get started at having a little look at how we do digital planning on our Android device. Okay, so welcome to my Android device. I'm sharing my screen with you so that this way it might be a little easier rather than trying to do an overhead view where you see my fingers getting in the way. So I'm hoping that by me using my mouse, if I wiggle my mouse over here, you should be able to see. So therefore I can show you what I'm pointing at and what I'm pressing on. Various people ask me what Android device I use. So I'm going to show you the device that I use. And it is, here's the name of it here. It's the Huawei MediaPad T5. That was my Android of device, and that is the device we are using for this demo. So this demo, as I said before, is for Android users only, and it's how to import your files, download your planner, and to do that, I'm going to use Xodo. So first things first, you'll need to download Xodo. So you'll need to navigate around your Android and find this. It's called the Play Store, or it might be, I don't know, the Google Store or something along that lines. And then up in this top search bar, type in Xodo. This is the icon for the app. So you can see it. And as you can see, it says install. So I'm going to click on install. For some of you, this might take a little while to actually install and download. For others, it might whiz through super quickly. And as you can see, it's doing its whirly circle. It's installing onto the device. And it's on there. Now, you could go directly in from here by clicking on open. Or you can go back to here and then you'll find that it has fell into one of your screens with the icon for Xodo. So first things first, the easiest way for me to show you the whole process from start to finish, because I know that some people struggle with the, you know, how and where do I download the files to that arrive in the email that you would have received to confirm your order. So I've ordered my own planner just to be like you. So I'm gonna go to wherever my emails are. For me, that is, I'm gonna go into Gmail. And I'm gonna scroll down. Okay, so I forwarded myself a copy of my own order. As you can see, it's from my WordPress site. It says thank you for your order, and then you've got these downloads just here, product downloads. So to download the files to your device, all you are going to do is click on the download, And you'll see there that if you wait for long enough, it will come up with a little box at the bottom saying, do you want to download? I'm going to click on yes. And I'm going to download. And then I'm going to go back. And then I'm going to do exactly the same for every single one of these little download options. So I've got the pink planner. We'll do the same for the functional stickers. Download. And you'll see that it gives you a little tick to say the stickers have downloaded. I'm going to go back again. Mini calendar and artwork. I'm going to click again on download. It gives me my little tick again. Hit the back button. And then I'm not going to download the instructions, but for those of you that might need them, again, that is where you would download your instructions. Now, I'm going to navigate back out of that. So I've now got all of the documents that I need for downloading. And I've also got the app that I need to use to open everything. So with that, I'm now going to head on over to my Xodo app. And we're going to click on that. Maybe late. Okay. So change permissions in your device's settings gives Xodo access to storage. I'm going to give mine access to storage because I might need it. And you definitely want to give Xodo access to your photos, medias and files. So you want to click allow here because otherwise you won't be able to bring any of your documents or various other things into the app for you to use. So this is where you should end up. It should look something like this. So over here you've got these 4 areas here. It's very straightforward. I Spy, so that's a search. So if you click on that, it gives you the option to search something. This one is just how you view. This one, which is the arrow going backwards, is a refresh. And this one here is a sort and filter. You don't need to worry about these over this side at this point in time. What we need to look at is this bit over here. So if you go over to the left-hand side, top part of your screen, and click on the 3 lines, this is what you will see. So you've got your viewer, which is predominantly where you'll each time you'll pop back into. You've got recent, you've got favorites, you've got folders, you've got all documents. For those that have got an SD card, you've got SD card, you've got system files. I have got Dropbox on my Android, as well as Google Drive and OneDrive. So depending on where you downloaded your file. Now I showed you just straightforward download, which will just plop it straight into the download area. Some of you may have dragged and dropped the files into a Google Drive or a OneDrive or a Dropbox. They will, if they are on the device, your Xodo app will show you what your options are here. Okay, so we're going to go to system files. Now system files takes me directly into downloads. Yours might not. So depending on where you land, if you just click again on the 3 lines, this will give you your drill down. And you can see here, I've got a choice of images, recent, downloads. I think this is the actual device itself, the Huawei. I've got my Google Drive and I've got my Dropbox. So I know that I downloaded mine into downloads. I just downloaded it. So I'm going to click on downloads, which is going to bring me to here. You can see I've done this more than once because there's 2 of everything. So my planner is the PDF file. And it says on there, pink planner compressed. Yours will have the title of whatever the version was that you've purchased. Mine's got a little 2 after it. Again, that's just because this is the second time that I've downloaded this, just so that I can demo it for you. So first things first, I'm going to click on this because we want the planner first. So I'm just going to click on the planner and you can see it automatically brings it in. Here we are in our digital planner. It's all installed on our devices. As you can see, this is your front cover. Now, on your front cover, you have got two little icons. One in the top left-hand corner, which is 3 little bits of paper, and another one on the right-hand side, which says content page. Now, wherever you are in your digital planner, they will always be visible. Regardless of what page you're on, you will always have those. They're great navigation points to be able to get back to where you want to. So first of all, if we click on the 3 little pages, that literally takes you to the very first page of your planner. As you can see, you've got all of your tabs along the top. You've got your days of the month tabs along the side, and then here on these 4 tabs, you've got your blanks. So you've got a blank dot page, a blank grid page, a blank line page, and a plain page. So they are for you to be able to navigate to. You duplicate those pages so that you can use and add extra pages within your digital planner. So that is the first place that you will ever go to. If I scroll back to the beginning, over on the right hand side is your content page. Now, this is where if you want to quickly get to all of your templates. So if I click on that one, you can see we have come to the content page. This is where all your templates are. I'm not going to go through the templates. I did that on a previous video when I first talked about the digital planner. This is just so that you can see what is in there, and it's a quick way to jump around within the planner. Now, you can use your tabs at the top to navigate yourself to where you want to. So projects, for instance, if I click on that and then start scrolling pages using my finger on the device, you will see, make that go away. You will see that these are the templates, and there's one template for every item. Okay. But the easiest way, the way that I find is the fastest, is I literally go to my content page when I'm looking for a template. So that is your easy access of getting around. So if I do an example, if I click on January, both of these areas are still visible. So no matter what, they are your 2 quick back to the beginning of the planner, or quickly get to your content page. Okay. So now we're actually in our planner. And you're like, well, I can see I'm in it and I can scroll through it, but how do I actually use it? So first things first, if you just tap on the screen of your device, you will get this come up, and this is where you can navigate yourself about. So if I click once and just literally, it's a very quick click, you've got the 3 buttons at the top. So this over here, you've got the 3 lines at the top left hand side. This allows for you to go find other files, and again you can see your viewer, your recent, your favorites, your folders, your SD cards, your system files, if you've got any type of cloud system or a drive where you save things, so things like Google Drive, OneDrive, Dropbox, that is where you will find all that. Over here on the right hand side, you've got obviously your Finder tool, which is like a search. You've got a back, you've got a settings. I think this is a sharing button. I don't use that one. But the one that you're really interested in is the one over here that looks like a pencil with a square around it. So if I click on that, this is what brings up your main toolbar. I've got to be honest, I don't use everything on the toolbar, so I'll only talk about the bits that I find that I use. This here is your freehand tool. So the freehand tool is basically for if you're going to write with your finger or write with a stylus. Next to that, you have one that looks like an eraser or a rubber. That is exactly what it is. It's an eraser. Next to that, you have the little T. That is your text box. The one next to that is your highlighter. Then it does things like lines, so you can have a line, shapes, so you can have a square. The one next to that has got a dotted line around the outside with a little plus next to it is a very useful thing, more so when you get to the end of the year and you've decided you're going to, wipe all the information off of a page. So what that will do is that will select everything on a page. So if you've got stickers on a page, you've got text boxes on a page, and you've got written notes on a page, if you use that and click and hold across your whole page, it will select everything on the page for you to, delete it or move it. It's a handy little tool to have, but I don't tend to find that I use it on a day-to-day basis. The one that we're currently selected on, and you can tell it's selected because it's got the dark blue around it. So a lot of these items, the way to tell whether you're on a tool or you've selected a tool is by clicking on it. If you can see that it's got the dark blue background, then that is the tool that you've selected. So that's your quickest way for you to, slightly different on the pencil, but we'll talk about that in a moment. But it's the quickest way for you to tell what you've got selected. So if I select any of those, you can see they all turn dark blue at the back. They have got this little white triangle drop down. But it just tells you what you've got selected. The button here with the arrows on is basically allows you to keep the toolbar in place and scroll. So you can just literally flick through the pages. Whereas if you're on any other, if you've selected that and you try and scroll, you're actually going to write a highlighter line across. See? That's not what you want to do. Again, if I select line and then I try and scroll, it's going to draw a line. Okay, so very, very easy to work out where you are. So if I click on this one here and I want to scroll through my pages, it allows me to just flick with my finger like you would a book. The X, self-explanatory, that closes this menu down. And then over here, you've got 3 buttons. This really shows you your undo and redo sections. But that is your main toolbar. There are other things on here. If you want to find out what they do, my suggestion is to sit and play with it at your leisure. But they're the ones I predominantly use. So when in your planner, you're not always going to want to tap and hold on a thing and then go to this bit up here. I find that a bit tiresome. There is a mini toolbar. And to access your mini toolbar, all you're going to do is anywhere on your page, you're going to click and hold your finger. And you will get your mini toolbar come up. It basically just has the same functionalities as the toolbar above that I showed you. So again, you've got your text box. Not quite sure what that one is. I think it's a comments box. This is your freehand tool, or the one you use for your stylus or your finger. This is the one that you will use if you're importing pictures or your stickers. This one here is a shapes tool, your line tool, and then you've got the 3 dots. Again, you've got a few more here. It's links, eraser, stamp, shapes, measures, forms, attach. Honestly, do I use any of those? No. I only use this part. Okay, so how do we use our bits and pieces? So first things first, we're going to go up to the main toolbar. Just to show you how all this works. So I'm going to click with my finger and let go straight away, which will bring the toolbar up. I'm going to click on my editing tool, which is going to bring my toolbar down. Now, as I said, when we click over these, it will turn dark blue to tell us what we've got selected. Now, I'm using a mouse currently just so that I can show you what I'm doing. But if I start to use my finger, so say for instance, I've got the eraser. So I've picked the eraser, but it's not really told me anything other than the fact that I've got an eraser, but it hasn't shown any of the settings. Once you've selected and it turns blue, if you then tap it again, you will get a drop-down box which will allow you to make changes either to, so for the eraser, you've got a change in thickness, erase ink only, ink eraser model, so you can do it from stroke or pixel, and the presets are basically presets for the size. So that will be basically your thickness. So if I click on here, you'll see that the thickness bar changed. If I turn it down, so you can have presets. So if you decide that you want one big one, one medium one, one small one, and then, I don't know, one that's sort of, I don't know, about there, you will then have these as presets. So instead of having to go in and change your thickness, you can literally select your thickness of your eraser here. To get off, I'm just going to literally click anywhere off on the page and it'll disappear. But now whatever I've put that as my setting is what I'll get. So the freehand tool is slightly different to some of these others at the top. So at the top of these, if I click on these, literally they just turn dark blue, but nothing really happens. When you go to your freehand tool, I'm going to call it a freehand tool. It's your stylus or your writing with your finger. If you click on that, you'll see that you get some presets come up where the pens show, and then over here you've got a plus sign. Now, if you try and treat it the same as another one or any of the other tools, that if you select it and then click on that tick, you think that you should be able to write with it. If I try and now write with my finger, all it's doing is my screen's moving up and down. So that is the only one that's slightly different. So if I click on it again, and then I click on the black, and I can tell it's selected because it's got the grey around the back and it's got the little triangle. And now on the screen, if I use my finger and type boo, you can see that it allows me to do typing. Now, what is rather funny and cool with this is when you start hand-free drawing, you get these little items at the bottom that come up. I have no idea why it randomly picks these little items, but it does. They are images. They are not sort of, but they're like doodle images. So if you're into your doodle images, you could select some of these if you wanted to. We're not going to go there. I'll let you find all that out for yourself. We just want to do planning. Now, as you can see, I've written boo with my finger. I've still got everything selected. And at this point, as soon as you've actually written something, either using your stylus or your finger, the trash can, the eraser and the back button all then become active because it's allowing you to edit what you've just written. Now, for instance, if I wanted to erase the second O, I will click on the eraser and I will click and hold with my finger over, say, the bit that I want to erase. It will put like a highlighter on it, and then when I let go, it will take off the O. Okay. Now, say for instance, it's like, well, I've selected my writing color that I want, but I didn't want it to look like that. I wanted it to be different. This is where, when you're selecting these presets, you have got your little triangle. So this is no different to the other tools, that once you've selected the pen that you want or the object that you want, if you then click on it again, it will give you the option to go in and change the color of the pen, the thickness, the opacity. If you want it to apply to pressure, so for instance, if you press really hard with your finger, you'll get a thicker line than a thinner line. That is what this is. You can toggle that button on and off. I don't tend to use that. Again, you've got presets. Let's get rid of that. You've got presets down here, but predominantly this is where you'll do all your editing and changing of the thickness of the line. So for instance, you can see here, if I play around, it will change everything up slightly. So say for instance, I actually want a thicker line. Now you can close out using the X, or you can literally just tap anywhere on the screen. Now, if I now do another O, you can see I've now got a thicker line than I had before. From that point onwards, if I click on this tick button, whenever I go to my black pen, my thickness and my preset for it is going to be whatever I last put in. So for instance, if I click on it now, and then say I go to eraser, click on that, and then I don't know, rub this out. Don't want that. I'm doing this with my mouse. You would do this with your stylus or your finger. There we go. Rubbed it out. And it's gone. Now, if I now go to my pen and then just go to the black and now type with my finger, you can see that the text is huge because that was the last preset. So again, if I want to go in and I want to change the thickness, or I want to change anything to do with that black pen or pencil, I'll click on it again, and that is where I'll need to bring my thickness down so that I have a smaller line. And now if I type boo, okay, that is the only tool that does that. All of the other tools, you literally click on them again if you want to sort of bring up to be able to change their thicknesses. But as soon as you click off them, you've still got them selected. So as long as it's dark blue at the back, if I now put my finger on my screen and start rubbing backwards and forwards, it will do what I need it to do. I don't need to have something open to make it go away. So next up is the text box. So up here you can see we've got the little T. If I click on the T, again, I've selected the text box option, but I'm not just going to start putting my text in because I want to check to make sure that the text is the sort of size, color, and I want to edit my text. So if I now click on it again with my finger, I can now go into the style of my text box. You can see here it's showing me my text box. The ones that you will use mostly will be this one, text color. I don't tend to use the border color or the background color. I don't very often change the thickness, but I do change my text size. And down here you can see it says fonts. If you click on that little arrow down, you will see that it gives you an option of other fonts. You can download more fonts into Xodo. I'm not going to involve that in this video. If you want an extra video on that, I can do it. But this is really about the basics. So this is where you can go and pick up whichever font you want to use. That basically is the text box. So you don't actually have to go into this and preset this ahead of time. The one thing that I will say is if you go into text color, you will see down here there are 3 little dots. If you go into the first one, if you've recently used certain colors and you're like me, you like to keep everything themey and samey and all sort of pretty colors that all match. Wherever you've had recent colors, it will show up down here. So sometimes it's a bit like a preset. So if you just want to just sort of switch between 3 or 4 different colors, you could go here. You can add into your favorites. So if you've got a color that you like, you can add it to your favorites. If I go to the next dot, these are the presets. So these are the preset colors that are optional. And then if you go to the final one, if you know what your hex color is that you like, or you want to use this little circle to sort of blend and look at the blends of color, you can use that. To get back to where you was, you literally just use this arrow back button and it will take you back. Everything is pretty self-explanatory. Your text sizes, so if you make this bigger or smaller, the text will get bigger or smaller. Once you've set this up how you want it, you just click on this X at the top here and that closes it out. So now if I click on my page, anywhere on my page, it will say write something. So if I now write, hello peeps, and do save, you'll see that it's now dropped my text box in my preset style that I've requested. Now, it's sort of just dropped in the middle of the page. How do we move it around? Very easy. Click on it with your finger. That's it. Click on it with your finger. You'll see we've now got another mini toolbar come up. This is just so that when you're in your toolbar, you can actually go in and change. So if you was to not bother with the first step and just start typing a text box, you've still got this option to just make the changes. So if we now click on this is the palette which allows you to make additional changes. Again, it's just going to bring up this box that we've already seen. If, however, you write something and actually you want to change it, if you click on this one, which is the pencil with the square, it allows you to change the text. So I don't want hello peeps. Let's put in hello dude and then save again. That's how you change it. If I wanted to copy and paste, you will see here there is a 2-page thing. So if I now do copy, it will say copied annotation to clipboard. I'll click off of, well, say click. If I tap somewhere else on my screen other than over my hello dude, such as there, let me go back, and then click somewhere else on the screen, click and hold with your finger, the toolbar will come up and you will see down here you've got this one. This is your copy and paste. So if I now click on that, I'll get a second version of hello dude. If I now click on that, it gives me the same option to make any changes. Okay, so I'm going to delete that one. Now, to move this around, very, very simply, click and hold your finger. That's it. And then start moving your finger around. And you can see I can now move this wherever I like. Now, slight variant difference between this and some of the other things is, whereas normally with a text box like this, if I now click on one of the corners and start dragging out, natural instinct tells you that your text should grow bigger when you make this bigger. So if I click on there and hold my finger, it moves around. If I now click on it and then just click on the corner and drag, it's making the text box bigger, but it's not made the text any bigger. So hence the reason why at that point you will still need to go into your palette. So if I go into my palette and I now make my text size bigger, I can make my text bigger, but it will make the box by moving. The only time it will change when moving the box, so if I make this box smaller than the text allows, that's what you'll get. So if I now use my finger and I'm literally just picking this corner here, I'm just putting my finger on it and then starting to move my finger. If you put your finger there, hold it and then start to move it, it thinks you want to move the whole text box, so all your text will just move, but it won't make the text box bigger. So if I just literally put my finger on this bottom circle and then start dragging, it makes my text box bigger, and I can manipulate that to make it fit. There we go. And again, if I want to change what it says, if I click there, it lets me go in and make the changes. And then, for instance, if I want to delete it, very, very easy. I can delete, and then I've got the 3 buttons here. There is an option for flatten. I'm not even going to go into it with you. There is a way that you can use text in a planner and then flatten it. But be warned, people, disclaimer, if you flatten anything, there is no change in it. You can't go back and change it. It stops you from being able to click on it. It basically becomes part of the planner. You have to save the planner as a flattened object. But my advice, don't worry about this flatten. Please don't flatten anything. Do yourselves a favour. The only time you might potentially want to flatten something would be if you was adding wording into your tabs. But then once you've done that, there is no change in it. Okay, so we've done text box, we've done writing, just to show you what it does and doesn't do. So for instance, if I now go onto the eraser, and then using my finger, I try and erase over the top of a text box. See, I'm highlighting it. It doesn't erase it. The only thing the eraser will do is take off annotations, as in written. So if I now do the same on the boo, you'll see that it rubs that out. But it doesn't rub out a text box. The only way to get rid of text on a text box is to tap on your text box, and it allows you to change it. But if you're in the rubber at the top and then you click on text box, it won't do anything. Okay? You have to select text for the text box option. There we go. So now I'm going to resize this. No, I'm not going to change it. I'm going to change my text size. She says change text. Yeah, he's way too big. I'll make him about a 24. And then I'm going to make the little box smaller. And now I'm going to move my box over to there. And then click off. And then that is my little text box. So our next button along is our highlighter. Again, exactly the same as before. If you click on it once, it selects it. If you click on it again, it allows you to go in and make changes to the colors. It allows you to make changes to the thickness and the opacity. So if I want to change the color, again, I can use the little whirly thing, or I can use the presets, or I can use recent or favorites. Okay. I'm just going to pick a preset. It's easier. So there's my preset that I've picked for that. If I click up here, now I can see that I've selected it. It's dark blue at the top. If I now start going over the top, you'll see that it goes over the top of a text box. And it highlights over the top of my annotation. And again, same thing as before. It gives you the option to go in and make changes to the colors. What I like about this is it actually gives you the option to change the opacity of your highlighter. So if I now do that, you'll see that that bit has changed to a lighter and that bit is darker. Okay, very, very easy. And again, if you click and hold it, you can move it around on the page. So now you've got highlighter over the top of text box and highlighter over the top of written. Now this is where I was saying to you about you have to select the object to be able to move it. So at the moment up in the top you can see we've got the highlighter selected. So when I click and hold my finger, it allows me to do more highlighting. If I click it just to select something, it's going to pick up just the highlighting. So if I pick up again, it's just picking up the highlighting. It's not going to do anything to the text. However, that said, if I now click on my text box, for instance, and then go over to this bit up here, where it says, hello dude. If I now select, it's not going to pick up the highlighter. It's going to pick up the text. Okay, so if you ever have got highlighter over the top of text or annotation, you need to remember that you need to select, are you trying to move the text box? Are you trying to move the highlighting? Or are you trying to move the annotation itself? Okay, so just because I know that some people love to use highlighters, and again, you can delete both. You know, it's very easy. You could delete it, but you might want to just take off the highlighter, but not the text. But you just need to remember that when you're up here in the toolbar, you need to have selected what it is that you're going to try and take away or delete. Say, for instance, as you can see on this page, we've got the text box, we've got highlighter, we've got annotation, but we want to clear our page. We don't want any of that on there. This is where this little tab comes in handy. So this is the one where I was saying you can select a certain portion of a page and it will delete whatever you've put on there that isn't part of the page. So example, if I now click and hold with my finger and drag, whatever is in that highlighted section, it will select. So anything that isn't naturally part of the page, it will pick up. So whether that be an image, a sticker, writing, a text box, highlighter, it will all just delete it if that's what you want. Or you could do a copy. They have got three little boxes. Again, you've got flatten or you've got group. Flatten, please don't flatten. Group, you might want to group stuff together. Who knows? Basically, the only reason that I use this is if I want to delete something or a lot of stuff. Because at the moment, if I wanted to delete this without using this option, I would need to select, you could select rubber and it'll rub it out, but you're not going to want to sit there and squiggle your finger all over it. So you could go to the pen tool and then delete the pen, and then go to the highlighter and delete the highlighter, or you can use this button. So if I now select that, it's actually selected it all. If I click on delete, it will take the whole lot away. But the same applies if you've got a whole page of stuff. So if you've got stickers and text boxes and writing. So as example, if I now, I'm doing this with my mouse. It's not very easy actually. So if I do that, okay, and then, let's do, that. Now you can see it's brought up some stickery things, so I'm gonna click on that as well, and then let's move that over there. Okay, so we've got that, which is actually a sticker. Look, it allows you to, we'll do this in a minute with the cropping, but you'll see that that's what I wrote. And this over here is basically an image, but it's like a little hand doodle image. So now we've got a whole page of stuff that I don't want. So again, if I now go to the tool up the top with the square and the little X, and I highlight over the whole of the page, I select it all. If I now hit the trash can, the whole page of stuff will disappear. Okay, so I find that a very useful tool. That really is it for the tools. All of these other tools I don't really use. I'll be completely honest with you. The only other thing that we need to know about really at this point is your stickers. So if you're importing pictures or stickers, how do we get those in? Okay, so first things first, up here you do have this in your main menu. I don't tend to use anything on my main menu apart from these ones. So I'm going to close my main menu. Okay, so if I'm now on my page, like so, and I decide I want to bring in, let's just say I'm going to go to here. This is week 1 of January. And I want to bring in a sticker, for instance. Now we know we've downloaded the stickers. We've already got those on our downloads. So if I now click and hold on my screen, I get my mini toolbar come up. And here on the mini toolbar, you have this one, which looks like a picture. So I'm going to click on my picture here. Now, depending on what you've got on your Android, will depend on what options you get come up here. As you can see, mine has come up files, camera, gallery and photos. You might have other things on there that will come up as well. Now, we're going to the stickers. So I know that the stickers are within my files. And if you've got other things that you've stored elsewhere, you will go to files. So if you click on files, it will automatically take you to recent. Now, at this point, if you click on your 3 lines, all it's going to do is take you to the bit that we've already seen, where you can go in and you can find various places that you might have stored other stuff. Okay, I'm going to go to my downloads because I know that the stickers are in the downloads. So here's my stickers. Now, first of all, let's say I want to put a mini calendar in, just as an example. Now, you can see I've got 1 page of stickers here, and then I've got my mini calendar and image stickers over here. So I'm going to use my image stickers over here and select that. And it's literally going to drop your stickers into your planner, like so. So if I now click on my stickers, it will, and you click and hold, it will give you a box. Now, if I click on in any of those corners, click and drag, it's going to make my stickers bigger for me so I can see what I'm doing. But the minute you do that, you'll notice at the very top, it now brings up another little toolbar for you. This is what is really quite cool about Xodo. Every time you touch on something, if there's an option to change it or to do something, all your little mini toolbars pop up for you. So up here, again, we've got the one that I think is a comment. I'm not going to do that. The one next to that is very important. This is a cropping tool. This is what you will need for your multi-page stickers. So if I now click on my cropping tool, let's just say, for instance, I know that that first week that I'm on this image is January. So I might want a mini calendar for January. So I'm now going to crop January down. So all I'm doing is clicking and dragging my finger. Well, I know I'm using my mouse, but if you're on your Android device, you'll just click on your screen on these corners and bring it up, and you crop it to what it is that you want. And then at the top here, you'll notice it says crop. Click on crop and it will do exactly that. So now you've got this tiny little thing. You're like, I can't really read that. Can't really see it. So if you now click on this corner and drag outwards, you can see that you can make it bigger and smaller. Okay. So I'm going to make mine about the right size to fit into there. You can keep cropping if you need to. If you didn't crop enough the first time, it allows you to go in and crop some more. Place it to where I want it, and then literally just tap off, and my sticker is now placed. So let's add another sticker just to do it again. So I'm clicking on my screen. I'm going to go down. I'm going to pick again on that one there. I'm going to go to my files, downloads. Right, let's go to functional stickers, sorry. So if I now click on this one here, which is the main functional stickers, and I import that, it's very, very small. It's very difficult for you to see. So if I now click on it again and make it bigger so I can see what I'm doing. But when I do that, you can still see we've still got the little toolbar up so that we can see what we need to do. Now, I want to put a sticker in. What sticker? Shall I put a relax sticker? Should we do one of these? So I'm going to crop this. And again, as soon as you click the crop button, you'll notice you get this blue trim line with blue corners, which allows you to then click on those corners and drag up. So I'm going to crop this as close as I can, but it's not going to be perfect, and I'm going to do this on purpose. So say for instance we get to there, and then at the top I click on crop, and you can see if I now make that bigger, so I'm going to click on this corner here and just drag it with my finger to make it bigger. You can see that I haven't just got the sticker that I want, I've got all this other stuff. It's not a problem because we've still got the option to crop again. So if I click crop again, it allows me to just keep bringing the lines in till I've got just the sticker that I want. Click on crop, and there we have our sticker. So I can click off of that and you can see it's just sat in the middle of the screen. If I click on it again, I get my blue trim lines. At that point, I can resize by going to one of the corners and clicking and dragging, and it'll make it smaller or bigger. So I'm going to make mine slightly bigger, and then I'm going to click on it and hold with my finger, which allows me then to move it. So I'm going to stick it over here, make him a little bit smaller. And there you go. There's my little sticker. And you can do that with all of the stickers by cropping and adding bits and pieces. If I go to stash, for instance, and scroll through, we've got a number of places where you've got little placeholders for you to put your little pictures. So fabric stash. So say, for instance, that image was my fabric stash. If I now press and hold on my screen over that square and then import a picture, so we go to gallery again, magazine unlocks. Let's just say that, for instance, is some fabric. It's saying, do I want to choose that image? Up in the top right hand corner, I've got a little tick. Click on my tick, and it's brought my image in. Now, if I click and hold on the image, I can drag it around the page. At the moment, it's too big for that little square, so I'm going to sort of place it sort of there. Take my finger off, and then I'm just going to resize it by selecting one of these corners just here, and I'm going to put my finger on it and then start dragging it in, which will make it smaller. There you go. So I've now got my picture in there. If I wanted to crop it, I could select it, make it bigger so I can see what I'm doing. Hit your crop button. I just want to crop it down. I don't want that wall. I just want, I don't know, that bit there, like that. Maybe bring that down. Bring that up. Crop it. I've now cropped it. I've cropped picture. I can sort of see where my gap is, and I'm going to plonk him in there. There you go. So that is now an imported image or picture or sticker or whatever you like. So one of the things that I use mostly in my planner, as you all know, if I go on to January, down here on the bottom right hand corner, you can see there's like a little notepad, and then over here there is what looks like a little calendar. Now if I click on my little calendar, you can see that this is where I do my WIPs monthly tracker. Okay, this is how I track daily what I've worked on, what I haven't worked on. And as you can see, I like everything to be nice, clean and crisp. I don't like my handwriting, so I use text boxes for my projects and put my projects here. And to fill in these, I just have this little tick. Now, what I do, just to show you how I do mine, if I click on that little tick, it's allowing me to select it. And I'm going to click and hold on him, and I'm going to drag him up to the top, up there. Whilst he's up there like that, because I know I've already sized him in accordance with my little grids, is I'm going to click on this duplicate button right here. Okay, so it says copy annotation to clipboard. I'm going to click off onto the screen anywhere. So I leave that as like my little go-to. So each time I want to copy and paste, I'll keep that up there. Now I'm going to click anywhere on my screen. Click and hold. She says, there we go, click and hold. And you can see that instead of just having two blanks of paper, the top bit of paper has got two lines on it, which means it's ready to paste. So if I now click on that, it puts in another little tick for me. So if I now click on that little tick, I can place that tick right there. And then that is how so as the days go on, I just put more and more ticks in. And then if I want to add another project, because I'm working on another project that month, again, you can single tap and then use this function, single tap, and use the main toolbar up at the top. Or you can do what I do. Go away, that's it. Click and hold on the screen and bring up your mini toolbar. And then I'll bring up my text box by using this T down here, text box. And I'm going to put in there, I don't know, mini red queen, like so. Save. Mini red queen, I know it's the wrong colour. I want to change the colour because I want it to match the one before. So if I now click on that, go to my little palette, I'm going to go text colour. Now I know that I've used this colour before, so I'm going to use these little dots at the bottom. I'm going to click on this one and you can see recently used. It must be this one here. So I'm going to click on the grey, use the arrow back button. It's similar. It's not the same colour, admittedly. That will do for the demonstration. But you see my point. If you use the same colours over and over again in your planner, it will show you recently used or favourites. Or I could add it to a favourite. So now I've got mini red queen. I'm going to select it. And then I'm going to put my finger on it and I'm going to drag it. And I'm going to drag it up here. There we go. So mini red queen is now placed. If, say for instance, I want to mark the fact that I've stitched on that one today, I'm going to go up to the top tick. I'm going to click and hold. Click it again. Gives me the option to do the copy. So I'm going to copy it. Click anywhere on the screen. Click and hold. Gives me the option to do a paste. There's my little pasty button. Paste. And there's my little tick. He just dropped in. So now I select my little tick by placing my finger on him, and then I drag him to where I want him. So let's just say the next day I stitched on that one. I'll put that in there. That is how I tick off my tracking, how I do my tracking. So, and that is a tick that is in your functional stickers. So literally all I've done is brought in a sticker sheet and cropped down the sticker, and then used one sticker at the top of the page, and then used it throughout the planner for my WIPs monthly tracker. We're getting there, people. Okay, so that is your tools. That is your how you import stuff. That is how to get your stickers in, how to crop your stickers, how to use your stickers. So finally, the last part of this video is how you move and duplicate pages. So how do we do that? So first things first, if we click on our page and let go, you will notice down here on the bottom left hand corner there's a load of little dots. Okay, that's the bit that we want to go to. So if I click on my page and I go to my little dots, you will see that it brings up a different view. So this is the view of all of your pages, and you can see which one that you're actually on because it's blue, like so. The number will be blue. So if you're in your planner and you're trying to find your way to your templates, so as you can see, you can scroll through all of your pages this way. That's not something I would suggest. So I'm going to hit the back button up here in the top left hand corner. Hit the back button. Now, remember I said to you we have the content page. So if I go up here to my top content page and click on content page, and then over here, say for instance, we've got project portfolio. Okay, so if I go to project portfolio, this is where you can put in all of your project pictures and then the project details. Now, there's only one template of every single slide. So there's only one of each of these templates. So once you fill this one up, it's like, well, what do I do now? I've got more than 4 projects. This is where this comes into play. So if I click on my screen now whilst I'm in where I want to be, and then I go down and I click on all my buttons down here, I can now see that page 116, because it's highlighted in blue, is the template. Now I want to duplicate this template a number of times. Now this is my main one. Now this is where we have to be very careful. Whatever you do, do not ever move your main page, the page that is the template itself. If you move that, it will lose its links. We don't want to do that. So as you can see, we've got 116 that is turned blue. Now if I click on the actual page itself and select it, it's going to select, and you can tell at the top it says 1 selected and the page is turned blue. Okay, now the page is turned blue, which means it's selected. If I go up, you've got a back, a forwards, which are greyed out. You've got a page rotation, which will allow you to rotate your page. You've got a trash can, please don't trash can it. And then you've got your 3 dots. So if we click on the 3 dots, you will see at the top you've got an option. Duplicate, export or modify page labels. We're not going to do the 2 bottom ones. We're literally just going to do the top ones. So we're going to duplicate. Okay. So now you can see that page 117 becomes a duplicated version. So if, say for instance, you know you've got 20 projects, you've got 4, 8. So if I now duplicate, now I've still got the same page highlighted, so I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to go up here to my 3 dots. I'm going to duplicate the page again. So that's 12 projects, and then I'm going to do exactly the same again. Duplicate. So that's 16. And I'm going to do it one more time. There we go. So we have now got page 116, 117, 118, 119, and 120 are now all the same. And as you can see, if you start selecting, it will select. If you now unselect, it will unselect. If you click this back button, it will do just that. It will just take you back so that it's showing you the page. So to duplicate, my suggestion would be for every single one of your templates that you've got, and that's almost everything really, other than the calendars. I mean, you wouldn't want to duplicate your content page, but every content page or every page within the content page, I would go and duplicate a number of times. So literally from this point onwards, I would go in and I would duplicate. So for instance, this one, this is my sale tracker. Okay. So I'm going to go to there. 113. So I've selected the page, or it's told me this is the page I'm on. I'm now going to select, hold on. 130. Right, so I'm now going to select the page. If I now click and hold on the page, it will select it and turn it blue. As soon as it is blue like that, you know that you can duplicate the page or rotate the page. I don't know why anyone would want to rotate a page, but they do. So as you can see at the moment, the functionality is allowing us to do the back button. There's no forward button. It does allow us to rotate. It does allow us to delete. You don't want to do that because you'll lose your links. If I go to the three dots and again click on the duplicate, it will now make page 114 a duplicate and everything will move one step. All the links will still work. But like I say, most important point at this is if at any time you decide you want to delete or remove pages, whatever you do, don't move the first page. So the first template or the first page of that type is your main template. If you move it, if you delete it, you will lose your links. Your planner will no longer work. Let's go there. Page 114. So we can see, you can tell at the bottom because it's showing you 114 of 151. So page 114 is the same. And I'm going to do this on purpose. So if I now scroll backwards with my finger, there's page 113, which is exactly the same as page 114. So if I now click on my page, go to my little dots in the bottom left-hand corner, you can see I've now got selected page 114. So I know page 113 is the first page. That's where the links are coming from. So now if I select, so I select and hold page number 114. If I want to delete it, I can delete that one. But I cannot delete page 113 because that is a set template. I hope that helps. So the final thing that you would need to know for your digital planner is to move pages. So as you can see down here next to page 141, 142 and 143 are blank pages. So first things first, I want to go to my blank page. You have to go to the page. So I'm going to click on the page, which will say here, tells me down here 142 of 151. And if I scroll sideways, you can see 143 of 151 is a duplicate. Okay, so I'm going to click on the page and I'm going to go down to my little dots down here on the left hand side. I know that's the page that's selected because it's showing me, it turns it the number blue so that I know. So first things first, just to make sure that this isn't a linked page, I'm going to duplicate the page. So no different to before, I'm just going to select the page by clicking and holding on it to turn it blue. And then I'm going to go up to my top right hand corner and I'm going to duplicate it. And now I can see I've now got 142, which is the page that is the linked page for sure. 143 is my duplicated page. So that's the page that I'm going to move. Okay. So I'm going to hit this back button or the back arrow, which will unselect. Now, what I want to do is say, for instance, I've got I don't know, a thread insert that I want to put in. And I've decided that I'm going to put my thread insert after, let's say after this orange one, just for now. So I want to move my duplicated page, which is 143, into the space between 135 and 136. So all I'm going to do is select the page that I want. So first things first, I need to select the page. So I'm going to click on the page, which will take me to the page. It tells me it's definitely the page 143 of 152. If I now click on that page and then go down to the dots on the left hand side, it's now selected the duplicated page. So now I would like to move that page because that's definitely the duplicated page and it's selected that. So I'm going to click and hold on page 143. It's going to turn it blue. I know it's selected because it tells me up at the top one is selected. Now what I'm going to do is click hold and then just drag my finger up the page. And as I drag my finger, it comes with me. And I want to drop it in. So I'm just literally going to put it between the space and it'll automatically update and move. So everything will jump one space. And then if I just let it go, that's it. You've moved a page. It's that simple. And then I'll unselect by clicking on this arrow button at the top. So there we go. That is how you move your pages. So I hope that helps. I hope that I've gone in depth enough without boring you all to tears. I'm hoping that that has given you an overview of, one, what is in the planner, and two, what you can do with your planner. As you know, the most important thing is the links. So when you're going to start moving and duplicating pages, just make sure that when you're in that area and you're actually looking to move and duplicate pages, that you leave the original page in its own place. Don't delete it because it will lose its links. So fingers crossed, I've covered all aspects of the digital planner and digital planning on an Android using Xodo. Please give me your feedback in the comments below. If you get stuck or there's anything that I've not covered or there's anything that wasn't clear, again, leave me a comment in the comments below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I thank you so much. Yeah, I hope you have a lot of fun planning and playing with your stickers in Xodo. So until next time, people, thank you and bye-bye for now.